I'd like to call the Maysville Board of Commissioners Tuesday, June 17th, special meeting to order. And is it all done to implement? Dear Lord, we thank you for the many blessings that you have given us, and we ask you to guide us as we go throughout each day and as we make these decisions that impact so many. And we ask you to bless us and lead us in each of these things. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Cardinal?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood?
Here.
Commissioner McKay?
Here.
Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, ma'am.
City Manager Wallingford?
Here.
HR Director Rose? Here. Project Coordinator Ford?
Here.
Public Works Director King?
Here.
Police Chief Palmer?
I'm here for myself, Chris.
Okay. Fire Chief Carpenter?
Here.
Utility Manager Spence?
Here.
Zoning Administrator Larger? Building Inspector Fawcett? Codes Officer Brooks? Bailey?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Lisa. Budget workshop.
Did everybody get the form I put in your mailbox?
Yes.
Okay. Vic, did you get yours? Okay, great. So the number that you see there on the front in the red, it went up from 12.9 to that. 300,000 of that was the ambulance that I didn't have in the last time. And then some of the additions that we made at the last meeting. So that's where that number comes from. Now, when you get a sec, if you don't mind, turn to that back page. And I added some numbers there, and I'll go through it, and trust me, if I can understand it, anybody can understand it. So, and I'll kind of stand up so you can see while I'm pointing. So you see here, capital projects. That I added up everything that we had approved at the last meeting, and so that number for all the big departments, that number came to roughly 3.3 million. We started at 4.1 million, so we whittled that down a little bit, and Luke and Chief Carpenter taking the obviously the engine out made a big difference there. Now, transfer to utilities. In order to balance them completely out to where expenditures did not exceed revenues, I had to add about $165,000. It was 4.5 last time, so I added that just so they'd be flat. Broadband, 1.1 million, Maysville water line. So when you total those four columns up, you get 13,263,000 and some change. The deficit on the other page is 13.2. If you took out all the capital projects, the transfer to utilities, the Maysville water line, and the broadband project, we would have a deficit of $157,000. But basically what that is covering is just operational expenses for the year. No projects, no equipment, nothing like that. I just wanted to show that kind of as a comparison. Now, if you go over where I had transfer to utilities, where it says capital, that 3.6 million, that is what Darren and Jeff have in their budget that we went through the last time for capital projects and utilities. That 1 million over there would be left over from the 4.6 we'd be transferring. That would go to operating expenses just to balance their budget. If they didn't do any capital projects, we would still have to put in over $1 million to balance their operating budget. So the four big projects you had were the high service line redundancy, the Mason County High School, the sewer line back there, Flemingsburg Pump Station, and Lexington Street and Union Street. Those four projects, where I had show four projects, $3,255,000. And then I carried over the Maysville water line, $4.2 million. Added together is roughly $7.5 million. What I'm getting at is, and I'm getting to a point, I promise, 10% of that is usually engineering, right? You take 10% of a project, and that's going to be your engineering amount. So when I subtracted the 10% engineering from the $7,455,000, it leaves me with $6,710,000. I honestly believe, and grain of salt, not 100%, that won't be done this fiscal year. It won't hit the books. If all of their projects were approved, you got to go through the preliminary engineering report, take a couple months. Then you've got to do the actual engineering report plus Division of Water approval at what, at least 6 months?
Yeah.
Then you've got to bid the project out. So while we are working towards the project, I really don't think they will hit construction-wise in this upcoming fiscal year.
Well, if it does.
If it does, then, I mean, we still have to budget for it. Yeah, absolutely.
On any of them?
Oh, yeah, I mean, like Union Street and that one, I'd say we could probably get that done, the pump station, probably the other three, I can see.
You think so? Even with going through Division of Water and, you gotta get.
The pump station, we're not gonna have to get approved.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, that's good.
Well, the tennis court one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna have to get through, yeah, that's gonna have to go
So
through
two
Division.
of them, definitely.
So two of them, that one's 720 for the sewer and then 1.6, so what, $2.3 million. And again, going back to the Maysville water line, Strand's working on the engineering right now. What, Dave, best guess, engineering be done possibly fall?
Yeah, probably late August, September.
Okay, and then you've got to bid that project out. Whether or not they would want to start construction in the middle of winter, I don't know, but go ahead.
Division of Water approval.
The
after
Division of
that.
Water approval with that.
It would be winter at best before you could bid, but I doubt they would make it then.
And also, Matt.
My point is that project, construction-wise, probably won't hit.
We were talking to Matt Baker today, and he said he applied for one project, not this past April, but the April before, he's still waiting on approval for.
That's right now.
So, in theory, the 4 projects they had, the Maysville water line, let's just say they don't hit next fiscal year. Then your deficit without those water projects is $6,700,000 roughly. Now, we have to account in our budget that they would hit. We have to, we have to do that. But I don't see all of those projects being completed by the end of the fiscal year and us paying out construction and all that stuff. So, if it did, I've ran the numbers on an ordinance. Basically, if everything panned out, that 13 million, whatever, we would probably have about $1 million left in our contingency at the end of next fiscal year. But I do believe what you all have approved, at least up to this point, particularly for utilities and, the equipment that he needs back there, we need that equipment. I do believe that a lot of that may come under budget. For example, you budgeted $200,000 for a chipper, but you'll probably come under that. We're not going to be fully staffed for the year, so our payroll will come under. It will come under. We're not going to have a $13 million deficit. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I don't even know that we would have a $6 million deficit.
We knew that.
I know, but I mean, you still have to put it on paper.
And at some point, we still have to pay.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do, because I mean, even if those utility projects, we push those to the next fiscal year, obviously,
But we still,
that we still have to, yeah, because we're pursuing them, and we have to do them. I mean,
we have to sort of save for that.
Yeah, we have to be able to do those
Put money
projects.
back for that and then.
And, I am hoping, he's always gonna have projects. I mean, the engineering projects are gonna be there. You're gonna have an ambulance, you're gonna need one of those, every 2 or 3 years probably?
Yep.
I would say you're gonna be in pretty good shape. A dump truck, a chipper, our citizens love that service. Great service for our citizens. You're gonna have that. The telehandler will make a big difference if you get that. I can't see as many capital requests coming out of your department.
Yeah, I would think.
You know, you're gonna keep rolling. We've got improvements we need to make. But I still don't think we can sustain the expenditures versus the revenues. You know, again, we're looking at $4.5 million transfer from the general fund to the utility department to cover their operating balance and their capital projects. You know, last year, I think it was 2.1 million. Year before that, it was 800,000. So something has to give. I really think we need to look, as bad as we all hate it, we've got to look at raising some revenue somehow or another, whether it's on the city side or on the water side, on the utility side. Because we can't sustain what we're doing for very long. I mean, and I know you guys, we all know that. I mean, we've got to keep pumping money in, particularly into their department, to get these water lines fixed. We're still going after grants, and hopefully maybe something will come through before the Maysville line, you know, gets constructed, and we're able to get something on that. We're going to keep going after those, but really what I need from you today is I need to know, do you want to keep everything that was in there that we talked about at the last meeting? Do you want to take anything out? So
Is there
that,
anything we can take out?
yeah, I mean,
The 50,000 grant?
well,
or a side
both of them.
grant?
even that one, and even I love her to death. Caroline's done a great job with downtown, but I mean that's $100,000 right there. You can take out.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
You gotta take it.
you know what I mean. I mean they're great projects. They've been great for our citizens, but you know I think if you're going to cut something, to be something like that. You know, I think you whittled a lot of his down. You whittled a lot of Luke's down. You took the engine out. You know, PD's going after a couple cruisers and MDTs, things that you have got to have. The Cellbrite. And then obviously what, you know, these guys need here. Again, I'm just looking for guidance so that I can sit down with Miss Lisa here and she can help me finalize this ordinance.
Well, it's very evident that you can't sustain the type of cost increases that we've incurred and that everybody's incurred. And, you know, there are things that are ranging 30 to 50% or more higher than they were 3 years ago. And you can't keep your income the same and expect that you're going to operate the city. And I think our citizens, at least what I hear, they're very pleased with how the city has operated and the services. And I think they will understand that too. And so I think we have to look at changing our income to address some of those things. I mean, in the end,
Matt,
It
when
doesn't
will our
balance.
payroll tax rebound?
When will it, hold on, David. When will it rebound?
Yeah.
It stayed. Let's see. Payroll. I mean, in 23 and 24, it was right at 7 million, both
Yeah.
years. And that's what we're budgeting for again this year. It was 6.8, the actual figure in fiscal year 23. Just over 7 in 24.
We've got a new plant being built out here.
A new plant.
Yeah, you've got Mitsubishi.
Oh,
They haven't even started.
yeah, and I don't know, David, that would hit in, yeah, thank you. I don't know that would even hit in, I mean, I hope it does, don't get
Well,
me
what
wrong.
I'm asking, is there
Yeah.
a loss now?
Is
From-
there a loss now
From
in?
them, is that what you're saying,
Yeah,
David?
it's-
Oh,
there-
I don't
From
have their
them.
yeah, I don't have their figures. I'm
Okay.
just looking at totals, David.
Okay, at
Totals
some
were
point,
staying-
I'd like
we're
to
on-
find out.
We're on par with where we
I'm
have
not-
been.
I'm not so sure their head count will be the same once they open up and change their processes.
I don't think it'll be as much, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
hoping their wages though will,
Yeah.
Yeah.
compensate for the
Headcount
numbers that,
itself.
yeah,
Didn't they
yeah.
maybe lost some lines or something? They're
Yeah.
just running one line now, I think, or what I hear.
Well, I know there's a lot of people that have been retired out there. That's why I was just curious.
Sure. I mean, as of February, and I don't have it as of today, we were at 5.3 million, so we hadn't got the fourth quarter in
I know.
on payroll
Yeah, you
taxes.
won't be
So
after
I'd
March,
say
so-
we're right on par, and I mean, I budgeted 7 million for 26.
Okay,
Our property taxes are always gonna remain, we take the compensating rate, they're gonna remain pretty steady at about 1.1, 1.2 million. Insurance tax, I projected it to go up about $300,000 because insurance has increased for all of us. So I projected that to go to 1.3 to 1.6. Those are the big ones. Then you have, franchise fees and things like that.
Matt, I've got a couple.
Yeah.
That ARPA money that we're sitting on, what can you use with that?
It's okay. It's done. That has, and let me try to explain that. So I worked with Morgan Patterson from the League of Cities about a month or so ago to close out the ARPA. It's closed out as of December 31st of 24. So what happens is we were going to use that money for utility projects. But we're also looking at transferring 2.2 million from the city to utilities. So that ARPA money, which was around 1.8, I think, Vic, will just be used for something else on the city side. It's wages. It's loss of revenue is what we're using it for. It's just transferring money on paper is all it is. So that we won't have that after this
Right.
fiscal year.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, so it's
what
gonna be
you
closed
use it
out, so
for.
it's gone, yeah, it'll be gone.
And then, refresh my memory, whatever happened to the grant money that we were going after for that broadband, that we were almost sure
Yeah.
we were gonna get?
We got denied
Nothing.
on that pretty quick with that project. We got declined. It's sad, it's bad because we got declined because we were being proactive. That money went to communities and counties that, kind of like the water line, the Kentucky Waters project, who had I'm not saying they mismanaged the projects, but we had something going on already, and that's why we didn't get any money for that.
And we looked at other
And we,
opportunities too,
Yes.
but there hasn't been one that actually fits that we could apply for. The ad has helped with that.
and that project, Vic, that 1.1 million we would have used ARPA money for that. But I mean, we've got these utility projects that,
Is that
We've got-
gonna be in this fiscal year? That 1 million?
I hope so, because I hope everybody's hooked up by then and we're getting that. Yeah, I would think it would hit in this upcoming fiscal year. I would think. I mean, you're looking at, they're in their second year, I think, of construction now, so,
It's supposed to already be done.
yeah,
Yeah.
so. but
well,
yeah,
Matt,
that's-
just because we budget this money, like in Caroline's, we don't have to spend it.
You don't, no, but I would like to know now, if you wanna take that $100,000 out, I'll remove it out of these line items. There was, that money would be put into to the RLF fund over at Buffalo Trace. There's $60,000 in there already, that's usually in there every year. We haven't used it, so all I was gonna do was put another 40 in there, so then you got 50 and 50. But, I mean, I can even remove the 60 out of there and have that as zero.
What about the golf cart for tourism? I mean, I know that money comes from bed
Yeah.
tax.
Yeah, that comes out
We
of,
don't-
that's a contingency fund that's been built up over the years because of the bed tax.
Yeah.
So that's
Is that-
$197,000 that's there that should be spent. I mean, you don't wanna use it all, but you
Yeah,
should be spending it
exactly.
on projects like that. Yeah, absolutely. Tourism related,
It's
that
a
and then the
separate
tables,
thing.
yeah.
We don't really have.
Yeah,
can't
it's a
use
totally,
that for
yeah.
other stuff.
It's just, if she has an excess of bed tax at the end of the year, it rolls into that fund.
Okay.
That's what happens there, yeah. And I don't even have that included it's not included in the general fund stuff.
So is that something we need to go back through our budget books or budget workshops and look and see if is there anything else you know of?
And I'll be honest, I think, in my opinion, these folks have done a great job.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
not
they're,
saying
oh, I
that.
know, I know.
I'm talking
They're
about-
really good, and I think every department has whittled down to try to get,
I'm talking
The
like the
basics.
facade money. Where we
I mean, that's one you could
Yeah.
get rid of.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah, I don't, I
I think
mean,
Luke did a great job with
Yeah.
this budget, and I think the police department and the fire. I'm just looking
The other thing.
Says-
that-
yeah, I totally
The other thing
understand.
that you could cut is the donations.
Yeah, I mean, that would be probably the only other thing I can think of. I mean, a lot of the organizations, they rely on it, but if that's something that we were gonna cut, that could be it.
What number was that in?
That was 8.
Well, it's obvious that the high-priced ticket items,
I'm sorry,
Are the
I
most-
can't hear you.
it's obvious that the high-priced ticket items are the most important.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
those are the ones that we've ignored.
Yeah.
Over the years, all of us.
I mean, especially what they need to do on that utility side. I mean,
Yeah.
that's huge.
And
That's
if we
huge.
don't, then it's gonna,
Yeah.
we're gonna have another winter, and it's just gonna get bad, and the cost of material, and it's just gonna continue to go up.
I agree. And off your point, Vic, I mean, everything's going up, but our rates are staying the same.
Right.
So something has to give there. Something has to give. We can't continue with the revenues where we're at now and keep up with the expenditures. And we don't have to make a decision on that tonight, but we have to do something. We have to do something. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Again, I ran some numbers, be glad to show you those again at some point, but Jeff did a good job running numbers on the water side. But yeah, something has to give. There's no doubt about it.
Now, I get it, but has
Yeah.
everybody gone through theirs and looked at what they could possibly cut or do without?
No, I sat down with everybody.
Okay.
We went line item by line item, and
No, I get it. I
You
mean,
know.
I've been here since 2013, and before that, for a couple of years, and all I heard was, it was always a deficit budget, but we never came in, and it was always, don't worry about it, forget about it. No one came before the commission and said we need new water lines, we need this, we need that. It was always, don't worry about it, forget about it. Well, you have to worry about it now, and you can't forget about it
No.
now.
how
Can-
they,
yeah,
neither,
Yeah.
how they fix those years ago? They just Band-Aided?
They just patched it. Because I was told that was the cheapest thing to do, is to patch it, and don't worry about it, forget about it. Well, whoever sits in these seats
Now
In the
you have to
future-
worry about it.
shouldn't have to worry about it. So if we gotta do it, we gotta do it. And you've been here 30 years, and you all weren't allowed to say anything. I mean, you all came in, you sat in your seats, but it's,
You gotta fix it.
that was the word,
Agreed.
that was the popular phrase for almost 20 years. Don't worry about it, forget about it. I mean, and you can't do
Wow.
that.
Wow.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
It's just like Matt was talking about things going up. I gave him some examples this morning in the guys. One good example, I mean, we have like 450 different parts just going from brass fittings all the way up full circle clamps to pipe. And one good example, which everything has went up, even our chemicals, One fire hydrant, 2020, when I retired, was $1,500, 3.5 foot buried. They're $3,500 now, more than double. Our chemical, one of our main chemicals at the plant, $1,800, $18,000 a load a month is now $26,000.
No, I get it. You're preaching to the choir. I've scratched my head for years wondering, okay, you know, we sit here and we approve a $14, $15, $16,000 deficit budget, and I'm just scratching my head, but we never come in over budget because we didn't spend it. Now we're here.
Yeah, and we're here, and again,
I'm not picking on you all. I'm talking
Oh, yeah,
about-
no, I understand, yeah, sure. And we'll still come under. I mean, you have to prepare for, you know, when I'm looking at because it's a projection. Budget's a projection. When I'm looking at past years, I'd rather be safe and be slightly under on revenues and slightly over on expenditures and come in. I mean, I'm trying to be as close as possible, but I'm gonna round one way or the other.
It's about as good as budget as I've seen. It is what it is.
Yeah, and then again, you all have been great to sit down with and go through and again, I said this last time, this has been so good for me. It has been great for me because I have a much greater understanding of all this now. And I plan to have a major role in this moving forward, a big role in it. I've really enjoyed this process.
So maybe if
Well-
you had a better understanding before, we'd have a lot more money, right?
Well, I'd like to know what the commissioners think about how you see us increasing revenue. And if
I mean, again,
if you
we're-
don't want to say today, I think we definitely need to think about
Yeah,
that.
we do. We're constricted. Again, we're constricted by state statutes, property tax, insurance premium, and payroll, occupational license and taxes. That's it. Now, on the utility
Alcohol
side,
tax.
yes, alcohol revenue fee, that is obviously one. We do franchise fees with some of the utilities and banks, but, and then obviously on the utility side, it's water and sewer. Sewer does not need to be any higher than it is.
No.
And we're covered. Those rates should not have to go up for a while, since we got the $25 million line item from the state. But water has not. Water
But
stayed
sewer-
there, other than
sewer
CPI.
Sewer will increase if you raise the water rate, right?
No,
We don't have to.
no,
It doesn't?
no.
So sewer will stay the same?
Yeah, okay, yeah, we can change just water rates and not
Yes,
sewer.
that's-
ma'am.
But at one time, were they not tied into whatever the
Water
water usage was?
Well,
It's 125%, but
yeah.
Yeah.
It is. but
So
we
there's a
can
way to
change
raise
But you
water
can
without
change
raising?
it.
Okay.
it. Yeah. you can
Matt,
change it.
whatever, do you know the status of the lawsuit on the restaurant tax?
Last I heard, it was still in Franklin Circuit Court. I firmly believe that, I think the legislature is gonna have to act. Now, don't get me wrong, I'd love to hear a judge say, yeah, go have at it. And it's frustrating because the state utilizes a consumption-based, that's tax method, and they're decreasing their income tax rates. So, you know, but we don't have that option, unfortunately. And it would be, you know,
Is that something you can get Kelly to look at where we are, where that stands?
I mean, I can check with the
Our
league
league
and
is
see
sitting.
where they are, but I mean,
think
it's,
that would-
it's something that the league advocates for. It's been going on 10 years now.
Yeah, I know.
That's been a priority.
that
It's
would-
basically tax modernization has been a priority for 10 years. But it's gonna take action from the General Assembly to get it done.
And they discussed that during the session and pleaded that case and.
Yeah.
Didn't get anything.
Darren, how many customers do you have now?
5,400.
Yeah, I think it's right at 5,400. total
5,400.
Yes.
water.
And if you don't have sewer, you pay a little more for the water,
No,
like outside the city limits?
Yes, 25.
it's not anymore, no.
There's a surcharge.
Yeah, surcharge.
Yeah, there used to be a surcharge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is.
So there's not anymore?
No, there is.
There is, okay.
Yeah, there is.
I had it wrong, sorry.
Okay, all right, that's all right. I've been here a long time. Yeah.
So if you-
Andrew,
oh,
do
I'm
you
sorry.
have any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, I'm hearing some of the conversation, but not all of it. And I think we're talking about, didn't you say you wanted to hear what the commissioners had to say about, the revenue to meet the expenses?
Yes.
I talked to Matt earlier and I told him that I thought that, water rates were definitely gonna have to go up simply because our water expenses were going up. So, I'm in favor of the people who, use the service to pay for the service, so I'm gonna tend to be more in favor of raising water and sewer rates, probably because we can also decrease those quickly, once we get these projects paid for. But, other than that, it's probably gonna have to be a little bit of everything, including payroll tax and possibly property tax too.
Is that something we can look at later down the road, or does it have to do it now, or?
I don't think you have to look at it today or now. I think we can pass a budget and move forward, because it's gonna take a little while to do that. Property tax, in my opinion, we're at 0.152 right now. State average is 0.22. It would take us forever to get to that, by a 4% increase every year. It's just not, it takes so long to get, it would probably take 7 or 8 years to generate $100,000. It's just minimal.
That's if the state doesn't take us over,
If the state doesn't take us over,
payroll taxes.
I'm talking about property taxes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Well, they're not gonna, payroll tax what they wanna do is go to a centralized collection.
Yes.
But I think even though that is a small amount and it would take a long time, I think all those little things add up, and we should maybe not ignore that.
Basically, it's pretty easy. 4%, the year before we were at 0.156, so that's $156 on $100,000 assessed property. It went down $4 on our end. You also obviously have 4 or 5 other taxing districts. I'll be running the numbers here soon once Troy gives me all this stuff, and I'll be able to tell you what that will generate if we took the 4%. But that's when you do that, would be in August, if you wanted to take the 4%. 1.52 right now. I'll have to see what the assessments come in at, the property assessments, to kind of determine. I couldn't imagine it would be more than $5 or $6 per $100,000 of assessed property that it would go up, if that much. But
Yeah, that's
I'll be able to.
historically, we have not raised them because.
We have not. We've done it once.
Yeah,
We did
but
it once in 2017 or 2018. We did.
Yeah,
We
it
took the
raised
4%.
so little revenue that,
Yeah, we took the 4%. But if we're gonna get revenue off of projects, you have to continue to take that 4% so it keeps compounding. Otherwise, it's not gonna work.
So basically, you're saying that we could, because we have the reserves, we could pass the budget,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and then we
Yeah.
can work on.
Yeah. And in talking with others, if we were to, again, I stress, if we were to, we have to do something, raise, let's say, the payroll tax, you probably don't want to do that until January 1st and set that on a calendar year for others. So, we do have a little bit of time. Now, the insurance premium, you look at that in, I think, February or March, I believe, that we couldn't do it now. You look at it then, and that would go into effect in 27, fiscal year 27 is when you would look at that.
Well, put them on your calendar.
Yeah, we do. Nobody in this room, nobody wants to pay more, but we get these guys and these guys back here. Great service from everybody in this room. And it's just a fact of life. Everything's going up. And the best commodity in this room is these folks that we all get to work with. That's the biggest commodity. And with that, I want to make sure that you're okay with the 4% increase on wages for individuals. I think everybody is well deserving of that, very well deserved. And that's incorporated in there as it is right now.
I think we need to do that, and I think we need to add the 3% for the folks that we did not give it to.
I'm okay with the 4, Matt.
I'm okay with 4 too.
I'm all right with 4.
Yeah, I'm okay too.
And that doesn't change any of the numbers that you have, because that's just, that was already adjusted in there. Obviously, I would have taken it out if there was a change. Okay. If everybody's good with what we have here, I'm gonna take out, the only note I have is take out the 100,000 on the 2 facade programs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get with Lisa, tomorrow, if that's cool with you. Tomorrow, we'll draft this. We need to have 2 readings. I think we can knock this out in a day, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we gotta have 24 hours in between the 2 meeting dates. And so preferably early next week would be great, and I can touch base with you tomorrow if you'd like. Obviously, City Hall is closed on Thursday, and I'll be out Friday traveling with ball players. So I'll get with her tomorrow and we can have it drafted. But Monday and, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that, we gotta adopt the ordinance, the pay scale, and then I'm gonna have an update to our procurement ordinance that federal transit needs. And it's just language that they require in there to keep operating our buses and stuff. It's very basic. I'll just go on and tack those on as well.
Matt, sir, would you mind if I made a comment?
No,
For just a
no.
moment?
Major, go ahead.
So, Commissioner McKay, you talked about sitting in this chair and sitting idly by. And I want to make sure that the community is fully aware. I'm sounding the alarm. We are going to get dangerously low on police officers. Probably, realistically, at least 7 short, which puts us administrators on the street full-time. I don't know that we're going to be able to cover vacations, sick leave. I don't know that we're going to have a criminal investigation section. There's quite a bit that can be done, I think, to help with that need. 3 of the guys that I'm looking to lose are going to retire. Tons of experience. And we're not looking for relief for at least a year. If we hired them all tomorrow, it would be a year at least. And then I really have to worry about a brand new rookie officer, probably for about 3 years, to make sure they're not making moves they shouldn't make, right? And I want to tell you, we've been trying. So since August last year, I've got at least 57 documented people who have applied. And I think there's about 20 more than that because, to be honest with you, at first I wasn't keeping up with it. I just thought, well, they didn't make it. Those people may have rescinded applications. They may have not passed a written exam, a physical exam, whatever the case may be. But 57, we hired 2. One of those individuals has since resigned. And we have another one, we've got 1 person in phase 1. So out of 57, we've really got 2 people. So I'll tell you all that, I am probably more nervous for this city, for our police department, than I've ever been. We've never been in this predicament. I've talked to guys that have been on 25 years. Jeremy Poe's been on 20 years. We ever been down 7 officers? Like, these guys are thinking to themselves too, when I go to the bad call, there's only 3 of us. That's all that's gonna be on the shift. You're not gonna call reinforcements. There's nobody else. KSP doesn't cover here. We take care of ourselves, and they're short too. It's a huge issue. And I'll be honest with you. Put it out there, say that if nothing changes, guys will watch this meeting tonight, and they'll be looking to see, hey, this is the last hurrah to try to get this fixed. But if it doesn't get fixed and we lose another 1 or 2, which there's rumor of 3 more, okay, rumor of. And I won't say any names, I won't put it out there until it happens. But those 3 would put us down off of 12-hour shifts undoubtedly. and then you're gonna lose more. Nobody's working 10s, and they're damn sure not working 8s. So 12-hour shifts is where it's at across the state, and if we lose that, we're done. We're in a really bad shape.
Is every city having this problem?
I'm not
I
concerned
mean-
with every other city, but
Well,
I'm sure they
I
are all down.
understand, but I watched Cincinnati News last night, and they was talking about how far down they were on employees as well. I'm just asking that question.
I care about this community. I'll be honest with you, the people that you get to stay, majority of us are born and raised here. We have our families here. But we've got guys, we've got an officer who lives in public housing, okay? We've got another officer who lives in his mom's home. We've got another officer I know that struggles month to month to pay rent. So like these guys, they are struggling. I've got a dispatcher who looked at me and said, I would just like to make enough money to get out of my mom's house. And it's heartbreaking. I couldn't sit in that chair, Commissioner, especially after you said it with the water company, and you not hear us out. I know Chief Palmer spoke at the last meeting, but what he's telling you is absolutely true. And some of the guys we're losing are guys I would probably look at promoting if they were with us still. So, over the next couple of years.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, if y'all are good with the document I gave you saying the $100,000, I'll get with Lisa and get it drafted, and I will touch base with you all in the morning. Please look at your calendars, and I'd like to go on and schedule 2 days early next week for readings.
I would
All right.
like to follow up on Major Thomas' comment. You know, when I first became mayor, the comments that we got about the professionalism of our officers and the letters that I got written to me and it's really disheartening to see what has happened to our police department, and especially since they don't feel supported. And I hope that the citizens reach out and encourage the police department and our staff and our commissioners.
Now, did you ever talk to Palmer about what they're looking at as far as a raise or a starting point or
I think
salary, whatever?
no, I have not, Commissioner.
I mean, if you don't talk about it.
Well, I think
We're
what his speech to you all last week was, help me help you. You know, we need to work together and come up with a number that will work for our community and our officers.
Could I chime in?
Yeah, go ahead, Major.
And I don't want to put any words in Chief Palmer's mouth, but I just want to tell you what little bit of research I've done with it. And it's not as thorough as what you probably wanted, admittedly, okay? But I think last year the League of Cities published a study across the state of Kentucky. I think through that study we were down 25%. If I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong on
In
that.
the 25th percentile.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Second off, one of the officers that we're looking to lose, I did speak with him. I said, hey, this is a 7-year officer, 7 or 8 years. What would you need to make to stay here for you to have not even looked elsewhere? And he told me, he said $30 an hour, realistically. I know one of the guys that we're looking to lose, the number that I've heard that he's going to be likely paid to a county that could be east of us, is $34 an hour. That's another 10-year guy. Up north, the numbers are insane. I mean, you all know that these guys are going for 35 plus an hour as just a police officer, not administration, as an SRO. And not only that, I talked to Jacob Johnson today, who was an officer that went to Northern Kentucky for just a short stint. And he told me, he said, he said, I paid $20 a paycheck for my full family health insurance. So a lot of these agencies too, they're getting the pay on top of that benefit. And you have to understand too, KCP and these organizations, they flood our emails with it, okay? So every day I get an email and they're proud of it. We don't post our pay on the police. Look on there, we don't post it. City of Wilder, they'll post it, they'll give you $4,000 to sign on. They're gonna start you out at $58,000 to $62,000 to lateral as a policeman. They'll also give you benefits, it looks like, towards your vision, your family, your dental. Kenton County Sheriff's Office sent us through KCP 3614 hourly that they're hiring in Covington. All these are last year's. This is May of last year, so all these are old. Page after page here. I'm sorry, Edgewood, 60,000 to 63,000 plus your cleft. I mean, there's just Bardstown's on here. I'm gonna go through all of them. Fort Mitchell, and these aren't even ones I really tried to collect. They just kept coming to my email, so I threw them in the 2024 hiring. KSP even is starting out at 67.5 last year whenever they were in class 105. Paris, I just got, and these guys get them. I'm not the only one that gets them. And not only that, we're mandated to go to 40 hours of in-service. After you do that for about 10 years, Jeremy Capote can tell you, you know guys all over the state. I can pick up the phone and call somebody no matter where they're at. And guess what's discussed at in-service? How much money they're making. And from basic training day one, those guys will know what agencies are paying the money, and they're drawn to it. Now, bad thing is now for them, they're under a 5-year contract, right? So when they're hired, they're 5 years, it's with us. But I just tell you, yeah, so the benefit is another thing to think about too. Health insurance, and I get it. My wife works in HR and has 4,000 plus employees, and I get we do a pretty good job on the health insurance, right? But that's the thing that we gotta consider, because nobody is leaving Maysville to go anywhere usually but Northern Kentucky. We lost a 10-year guy or so, John Merson, to Campbell County, an excellent officer. Michael Parsons to Alexandria, a 10-year plus officer that should have retired at Maysville. So that's the kind of numbers I'm looking at with it. I don't know, you all have a difficult job because I sit there and listen to all the water projects. And guess what? I want the water to come on whenever you turn on the sink too, right? But I don't want us to be in a dangerous scenario. So, and we are lean on the budget. We've got AR-15s that have never been replaced since I've been here. And I know we've got one cruiser with at least 164,000 miles on it. And so we are lean, and that is and the majority of our fleet, by the way, is 2015 Dodge Chargers. That have
Is that the
10
year we
years
got 12?
Yep, that have 10 years on them. So we're trying to make do as best as we can. I just asked you asked, and I wanted to at least comment.
Thank you,
on that.
Fred.
Thank you.
I figure lack of communication's not good, and you need to know where you're coming from. Because I don't think it's ever been said before.
Anything else?
All right, thank you. I appreciate y'all's time today.
We appreciate the work that you put into the budget and providing this information for us.
Yes, ma'am.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second.
Yeah, Andrew.
Andrew, have fun.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yeah.
Commissioner Cartwell,
David, you want to adjourn? Yes. Okay.
Commissioner Wood, Commissioner McKay,